And we're live. I should probably retweet my own tweet. See if anybody cares about the Nets. Nobody cares about the Nets. Yeah, they do. Stop lying to yourselves. It's Nets versus Knicks day. It hasn't even been a week since the trade, but we will talk about it because what we do here is talk Nets. And this is a solo mission. I was going to record yesterday. I had a lot going on. I had a 5-hour show last night. There was a lot still happening, and I did want to wait until we saw what went down in Philly last night. Bah! All-time historic loss by the Sixers. But, yeah, let me retweet, and we'll get right into it, folks. Just get a couple people notified and into the chat to start chatting. I saw some of y'all in there. Let me go back and look. Sarge, what up, Sarge? Big fan Breezy, McBain, David, Rose Stackson, Guillermo, Nets World, we outside. Well, I'm indoors, but the Nets are back. Here come the Nets. All right, I don't want to waste too much time. Hey, we're going to talk about it, yo. PVT McVeigh says step back and B went crazy. Fuck was he thinking? Walk? That was a travel, bro. I don't know why. He practiced with Harden one time. Tried to pull that off in the game. Joel is a funny guy, man. Joel is a funny guy. Keith, will you be going live on Twitch? This is live on Twitch right now on the Talking Nets Twitch stream. I won't be live on WFAN Twitch during the Knicks-Nets game because I'm going to clip tonight. If you remember, Talking Nets got popular because we always used to clip the highlights of the game, and this is a good game to clip highlights, so I'll be doing that during the game. I won't be live. So here, let me bring my mic a little closer. All right. Make sure my volume is good. Give me some more snare in my headphones. All righty. We got 26 people. More people come. That's fine. Let's get into it. From the top, Talking Nets, episode 151. R.I.P. BOZOS. Losing streak ends. Here come the Nets. We lost 11 games. That ended Monday night in Brooklyn against the Kings. You saw the new Nets, Seth, Andre, and Ben, but he didn't play. And it hasn't even been a week yet. But so much has happened since James Harden departed. We'll talk about that saga. We'll talk about the timeline from Thursday to now Wednesday. We'll talk a little bit about the Miami game. No real need to go back and go over that one. It'll come up, though. We'll talk about the Kings game some, but the game I really want to talk about is the Knicks-Nets tonight. We'll hit some news topics. We've got a couple voicemails. We'll take questions from the chat as well. Talking Nets. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Talking Nets, episode 151. Keith McPherson joining you here by my damn self. I wanted it that way. No guest for this episode. Yesterday, I put out a little video saying that I wanted to read up a little bit more. We had the press conferences yesterday. I wanted to see what happened in that game last night, Harden's welcoming game. And I also knew I was going to be on the radio in Philly this morning. When they originally reached out to me, they thought that James Harden was going to play last night. They don't even know what they got themselves into. Harden is not playing. He's got the hamstring, remember? He went to Houston with a hamstring injury. He shut it down. Bro, check that on the Nets 2 weeks ago. He's in the All-Star break. He's not playing until after the All-Star break. We'll get into it. So, first off, welcome in, Nets fans. Hope you guys are well. I said I always want to do an episode after every 2 games, and we're still in that window. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I didn't really have the time, and no rush. This episode is streaming live, recording live, and it'll be out on the podcast app before we tip off, well before we tip off tonight. Where do we start here? Let's go back. Let's go back to last Thursday when the trade news broke, right? We did an episode, I think we did an episode Friday or Thursday, and most of us were excited. I don't think anyone felt like we lost the trade, and I definitely don't feel like anyone feels like that now that it's been almost a week. And after just like seeing how James Harden decided to move after being traded, it just makes everything we heard about this man confirmed, right? So the timeline for me, or at least what like got me kind of tight, because at first, if y'all remember, I was talking about like, yo, let's protect James Harden. If we don't know if the rumors are true, let's not put him on the bench. Let's not put him on the sideline in Brooklyn. I go to games. I didn't know if the fans were going to boo him. I didn't know if the fans were going to heckle him or whatnot. But when we saw Harden in that all-black Adidas jacket with the mask over his beard, that was it. That's the last image you'll see of James Harden with the Brooklyn Nets. Well, he gets traded, and this guy decides to fly to Vegas. Do y'all remember seeing Harden in Vegas with Lil Baby? He does the same shit. Like, when he was in Houston, he had to explain why he was in Vegas. He took a private jet to Vegas to go race Ferraris or some shit with Lil Baby. Harden thinks he's a rapper. That's why he wants to be in Philly. He wants to be next to Meek Mill, Michael Rubin. I told y'all that last episode. Good. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. The Brooklyn rappers weren't vibing with him, I'm sure. I'm sure he didn't really have a spot to kick it in Brooklyn. And he had to go back to Houston to get back into his booty clubs, with a hurt hamstring. So that slowed things down, right? That slowed things down for the Nets. The trade couldn't be processed. The trade wasn't finalized. And Saturday, we're in Miami while this guy is in Houston. And Ben Simmons, Andre Drummond, Seth Curry are waiting. Seth and Andre are ready to play. They could have helped us beat the Miami Heat, and we'll talk about the Heat game a little bit right now. All I want to say about that game is this. There's only one thing to take out of that game. That was in Miami, on the Heat's floor. They were fully healthy. They rolled out there with their regular guys, their regular lineup, and they don't scare me any. The Miami Heat are a team that scared me a little bit in the beginning of the season. They came into Brooklyn and they beat us, and obviously, the addition of Kyle Lowry and P.J. Tucker, when you already have Jimmy Butler and Bam and you have a good coach, I'm like, all right, well, they could be trouble. They could be problems. Nah, they don't scare me. We took them to the very last seconds. And if Kyrie had a better game in the beginning, maybe it doesn't come down to the end where I felt like Kyrie had to try and will us to victory. Dude was like, I don't know, I think he had something like 18 points consecutively late in the game, and he ended up finishing with 29. Cam Thomas had 22. Cam Thomas is him, but we already knew that. Cam Thomas is here. Rumors were that around the trade deadline, KD was saying, nah, we can't trade Cam. He can't be included in anything, any packages. That's my youngin'. That's my young boy. I'm going to bring him up now. He used to look up to Harden. He said Harden was his favorite player. He signed with Adidas because Harden is an Adidas athlete. Now KD is talking to the young boy like, listen, you see how Harden moves? That's not the kind of player you want to be in this league. Harden is always ducking the grind. Harden doesn't stay in one place. He quits. Harden is now on his 4th team in his career. And I can't wait to see how it plays out in Philly. They seem to think that something different is going on. They seem to think that for some reason, bro, is going to all of a sudden change. When the going gets tough, Harden gets going. So judging by what I saw last night, it's going to get tough on them. But anyway, back to what we're talking about here. That's it for the Miami game. the timeline right now, we're at Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Most of the NBA is off. There was only 2 games. Obviously, you got to enjoy Super Bowl. It's a holiday. But then Monday, we get to see our new Nets against Sacramento. They have a brand new team themselves for the most part. They got some new pieces, some new guys. They traded some guys away. And the Nets end the losing streak. Yay. Yay. The Nets did it. 11-game losing streak. Dropped us all the way from like 1st or 2nd down to 8th. The Nets are 6.5 games back. The Nets are 30-27. KD himself said, we know we're in deep shit. What that means is KD was like, damn, we were in first place. I had this team in first. And without me, we lost all of these games. And now we're down here in the bottom of the standings. Well, for us, it's the bottom. We don't want to be in the play-in, y'all. We don't want to be in the play-in, y'all. Take a look at who's in front of us, though, right now. We don't want to be in the play-in. And I don't think we will be. The Boston Celtics are trending up. The Boston Celtics are in 6th. They've won 9 in a row while we were losing. The Chicago Bulls have won 4 in a row. They're still holding it at 2nd. They're right there, actually. They're tied for 1st with the Heat. The Milwaukee Bucks rested Giannis on Monday, and Giannis came back and dropped a 50-burger last night. The Cleveland Cavaliers have 2 of our favorite players. They're going to be in the mix somewhere. And then you got the Philadelphia 76ers in the 5 spot. And I think that ultimately the Nets can get up to the 5 spot. I think that's probably the highest that the Nets can realistically get with the remaining schedule, with Kyrie not being full-time yet and not being able to play a lot of these road games that we have coming up. But I'm optimistic, honestly. I think that the Nets know James Harden was a cancer. The Nets know they had to get James Harden up out of here, and we won. So let's talk about James Harden and Ben Simmons. Yesterday, as we follow the timeline, Tuesday, after we get a win, the press conferences happen. You get Ben Simmons' press conference. I hope you guys watched. If you go to Talking Nets Twitter, I clipped it up a little bit, but I was in the gym, and then I had to go to work, and I didn't really clip everything. But I think most people got the gist of it or saw it, and then the same thing followed with James Harden. And I see a lot of goofies out there like, why are you obsessing over James Harden? Oh, my God, stop talking about James Harden. You guys are obsessed. This is basketball. This is the NBA. This is exactly what we do as fans, right? This whole rivalry now that we have, we've had a little bit of a rivalry with the Sixers. I put a tweet out about how I still hold a grudge against Joel Embiid for the elbow he had against Jared Allen, and then him and Ben Simmons laughed about it in the postgame. Imagine if Jared Allen was still on his team. That'd be awkward, but he's not. So we welcome Ben 10 in with open arms. And the press conference happened yesterday with Harden, and he just capped. He just lied through his teeth. I want to show y'all something. Let me see if I got it here. Boom. James Harden says Philly was his first choice. James Harden says Philly was his first choice over Brooklyn last season. Originally, when I was going through everything that I was going through in Houston, Philly was my first choice. Cap. Super cap. Woj. Sources, after turning down an extension offer to become the first $50 million a year player in league history, James Harden's message to Houston is clear. Get me to Brooklyn. Rockets and Nets have been in contact, but there's been no meaningful dialogue. So, what that leads me to believe is, bro wanted to come to Brooklyn, and we know this. Bro wanted to come to Brooklyn last year for the easy ring. He wanted to just join KD and Kyrie. Oh, scary hours. He thought it was going to be sweet. He thought it was going to be easy. And then when we had the COVID protocols against Kevin Durant, which was a joke, free 7. We made those free 7 shirts last year because they just kept putting KD in COVID protocols. Nonsense. And then he got hurt with a hamstring. And then Kyrie, obviously, is Kyrie. He takes his leaves, and we all knew that. Harden had to become the leader of the team, the MVP, and he was. And I think that's when Nets fans really liked Harden, right? Last year was between him and Jokic for MVP in our minds, and then he got hurt. But dude is lying. He's lying. He wanted to come to Brooklyn, but he didn't want to lead Brooklyn, right? You wanted to come to Brooklyn because you thought you could be the third star. You thought you could get your little step backs off, thought you could get your little fouls off till they patched that up this year. You ducked the grind. You ducked the grind. You got to be absolutely out of your mind to try and get off a team with Kevin Durant. While Kevin Durant is hurt, you bailed on the team? Yes, because he knew that this was his only chance to go reunite with his boy Daryl Morey. And good riddance. Also, good riddance to Paul Millsap. Bozos, R.I.P. Bozos. These guys crack me up. Paul Millsap was getting straight DMPs because he didn't want to be here. Why did you sign here? Why did you sign here? You knew who was on the roster. You knew who was on the roster. And then once you realized you were washed, right? Remember Paul Millsap took his little leave of absence? Y'all remember that? He took a little leave of absence in the beginning. I don't know, it might have been something family related. Then when he came back, he was just mad because there was no real spot for him. So we got him up out of here. We got Harden up out of here. And then as the timeline continues, last night was Harden's intro to Philadelphia fans. If you look on Talking Nets, Instagram, Twitter, I have the video of this clown coming out there and ringing the Liberty Bell. What is that? Bro, what is he wearing? Dwayne Wade said that's a pea coat and a suit. That's a pea suit. There's nothing pea about this, James. You're too big to be wearing the Willy Wonka fits. Bro, are you tweaking? James Harden came out there looking like a DBZ character. He had the whole shoulder pad set up. Like, what are you thinking? I know what he's thinking, and I joked around. I was like, well, you know, it's New York Fashion Week. James Harden has the Saks fifth deal. He's just keeping it going. R.I.P. Bozos. They got worked last night. Like, all-time bad. If you go look up the score, the Celtics kicked their ass. Like, I don't know what it was. It had to be the bad karma and bad mojo of James Harden that they don't even realize they've been hit with yet. They couldn't play defense. Their MVP and Joel Embiid only had 19, and Harden sat there on the bench, fully healthy, not trying to help the team. They lost 135-87 on the night that they welcomed James Harden to Philly, and James Harden dressed up like a Willy Wonka character. Like, hold these L's. Hold these L's. I'm sorry, but they got to hold these L's, and I'm not going to forget about it. I'm not going to forget about it, and you shouldn't forget about it either. Joel said, it's unfortunate that for Ben having his own team on, I guess being a star was more of his priorities. Okay. And they asked Joel. Malika Andrews said, or they asked Ben, they said, Ben, have you spoken to Joel? And he said, no, there's nothing to talk about. He's out of there. And if you watch Ben Simmons' press conference, I think he's in a better situation. No, I know he's in a better situation. He's in Brooklyn. He's freed. He's got Steve Nash, who he's got a relationship with. Patty Mills, his fellow Aussie. Kyrie also is Australian-born. He's going to fit right in. You know, he's got his Eskimo brother and Blake Griffin, and obviously two of his teammates, well, former teammates that he didn't really get to rock with, in Seth and Drummond. And we've got a cast of players and personnel and people that are going to help Ben Simmons. So now the timeline is current. The Sixers got smacked last night. And now that the trade is all the way done, all I got to say about that is, in Marks we trust, in Marks we trust. You see the pick? In Marks we trust, in Marks we trust, in Marks we trust. That's me at the Brooklyn Brigade tryout with the In Marks We Trust sign. Moving onward. So it doesn't really matter now, but it's interesting to hear last night that Nick Claxton was almost traded to the Raptors. Nick Claxton I don't know what's up with bro. I don't know. Like, when you hear that, it's kind of like, damn. Well, some of the stuff we've heard about Claxton all year, right? He's not healthy. He's sick. He's hurt all the time. I guess the Nets were trying to move him. I guess the Nets were trying to get him out of here. Doesn't matter now. He's still here. So he will be here to help this team. He will be here to contribute. He will be here to do something. In other news, DeAndre Bembry. See, this is what happens when you don't just cut Javon Carter. DeAndre Bembry is claimed by the Milwaukee Bucks. I immediately said, no. That's putting a guy over there that played a bunch of games for us, knows our style, knows our system, knows the ins and out of Brooklyn. Smart on the Bucks to go ahead and grab him. But that hurts as a fan. I think DB deserved better. I really would have liked to see DeAndre Bembry get a chance to continue to run with this team. Now, I don't know. Like, I was saying last week, I was like, I wonder if there's any way we could get DeAndre Bembry back. But there isn't now. He's claimed that deal is finalized, whatever. In other news today, here's a clip for you guys to watch. Adam Silver spoke today about the mandate. Now, ESPN is in New York. The NBA offices are in New York. A lot of us are in New York. And listen to what Greeny and Adam Silver had to say this morning on Get Up.
I think a lot of fans would be curious to know what, if anything, you know about where we should expect vaccine policies to be by the time, for example, we get to the NBA playoffs.
Honestly, I have no inside information. I'm here in New York, and that's where that ordinance is in place that has the direct impact on Kyrie. I'll say, to me, just stepping back, while it's been the league's position that we wanted to see every player vaccinated and boosted, that's not something the Players Association was willing to do. Having said that, though, we got to voluntarily 98% of our players boosted, and vaccinated, and then the vast majority of them are boosted. This law in New York, the oddity of it to me is that it only applies to home players. I mean, I think if ultimately that rule is about protecting people who are in the arena, it just doesn't quite make sense to me that an away player who's unvaccinated can play in Barclays, but the home player can't. So to me, that's a reason they should take a look at that ordinance. I'll say also, again, being here in the New York market, feeling particularly in the last week, many of the masking restrictions are being lifted. You can just feel it in the city. There are more people in restaurants, more people out and about. And so while, again, my personal view is people should get vaccinated and boosted, I can imagine a scenario where Brooklyn, as part of New York City, with a new mayor now who wasn't in place, Eric Adams, when that original ordinance was put in place, I could see him deciding to change along the way and say it's no longer necessary to have a mandatory vaccination requirement. As I said, particularly one that only affects.
What the fuck are we doing? Like, the smart people, the dumb people, everyone in between is questioning this mandate now. It makes no sense at this point. And if you listen to me on Talking Nets, if you listen to me on the radio, I've tap danced around it some, but I've gotten to it. From the jump, I said we support Kyrie. From the jump, I said he'll be able to play. In the beginning of the season, I said things will evolve. This thing will change. And look where we're at. We're on the second half of the month of February. And in my humble opinion, I believe we get to March and this is over with, bro. It's like, I don't know how much y'all know about the city in New York. This is about business. It's not about Kyrie Irving. And I see people like, Kyrie should just get vaccinated. Kyrie is not getting vaccinated. I don't even know why that's even an option. And why would he get vaccinated now? It's not going to protect him against anything. He's not like, it's just ridiculous. Like, we have this mandate on in New York City. The mandate is off in New York State. We watched Justin Holiday make his second unvaccinated trip into Barclays and play on that floor where Kyrie hasn't been allowed to play yet. It's really starting to grind my gears. It's really starting to get dumb, and I need them to make it make sense. Now, Adam Silver speaking on that, these guys are all calculated, right? That's putting pressure on Eric Adams. That's putting pressure on the mayor's office to do something. Because I said this to someone on my personal Twitter. Because people don't think, man. It's like, okay, why would Adam Silver say that? Adam Silver's been trying to get the whole league vaccinated, but Adam Silver knows the NBA is better with Kyrie Irving on the floor. Kyrie is box office. His game is one of the most entertaining games we've seen. And with all of this hype around the Nets, around the Sixers, around the NBA, and whoever's going to emerge, Kyrie Irving needs to be back as a full-time player. How long are they going to keep this guy out? And I don't want to say punish this man. I was about to say punish, but how long are they going to keep him out for a health choice, a medical choice? He didn't feel like he needed to get vaccinated to play basketball. They held him out the first 35 games, then they pressed the button for away games. Now the state has to either give him an exemption or remove the mandate because it's nonsense. Who are we protecting? And I know people say, Keith, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. He's a bad influence on people. Kyrie's got 2 kids. Those are the people that he influences. You're talking about grown-ass men being influenced. Well, I'm not getting the shot because of Kyrie. We're about to be in March. It's been a year since the vaccine became available. If you didn't get vaccinated after a whole 365 days, you don't want to be vaccinated. And that's okay because we're moving forward. We're moving onward. On the radio last night, I said, I've been to the last 2 Coachellas. And they canceled Coachella the last 2 years. I went in 2018. I went in 2019. Not flexing. I'm telling the story. In 2020 and 2021, they canceled Coachella. Why? Because you can't have Coachella with masks and COVID tests shoved up people's nose and asking for vaccine cards. It would just look stupid. Coachella is a festival where 125,000 people from across the world come together and party and drink and dance and hug and have a great time together. If COVID is still a thing out in California like they act, why was everybody at the Super Bowl unmasked right on top of each other, 60,000 people? Stop already. It's frustrating, man, because it's like people want to stay stuck on stupid and stay in the past. It's not all about Kyrie. It's about our lives. How long do you want to waste your life in this COVID nonsense? I'm good. I am over it. And with that being said, let's move on. Now, I played the Adam Silver clip. I'm glad that you guys got to see that. If you didn't hear it already, there's a bunch of stuff on it online. I'm glad that I could speak my piece on it. I want to play voicemails, and I want to get to the chat. The only thing I had to add other than that is shout out to Jared Allen replacing James Harden in the All-Star game. Our guy, the Fro, Big J. Appreciate you. But I knew that was coming. It was only right that Jared Allen replaced James Harden. James Harden, of course he's not going to play. And it's funny because it's like KD didn't pick him. And so I knew right then he wasn't going to play. Make sure you guys go check out the clip from Tracy McGrady last night when Tracy McGrady's like, you're in practice doing step-back threes, practicing your step-back three. That's not how you rehab a hammy. If your hammy's hurt, you don't do anything. That's how you just know it's lies. That's how you know it's nonsense. That's how you know it's BS. And, there's even a rumor that came out that Harden went back to Houston and, some promoter was looking for him and there was some beef that went down. And I'm like, this guy is crazy. He was going to Vegas during the Nets 10-game road trip. All of that stuff started to leak out. Reports of him rolling his eyes when Nash was drawing up plays for KD came out. Now, I want y'all to think about it and go back. Think about the games where we played the Bucks at home, the Grizzlies at home, the Warriors at home, the Suns at home, the Heat at home, the Bulls at home. All of those games, they basically looked at the Nets losing and said the Nets are not going to compete. The Nets can't play with elite talent. Well, there was something going on there, right? We didn't have Kyrie, and all of the attention went to Kyrie. Oh, well, if Kyrie played. No, if James played better, if James wasn't a cancer, if James didn't realize, KD, this is his team. You play second to him, right? If there's a play drawn up for KD, get into the play. Stop bringing the ball up slow. Stop bringing the ball up at a slow-ass pace and then looking for fouls, hunting a foul call. I'm so glad it's done. But like, I'm so over James Harden. Like, it's crazy how, and this is life too. It's crazy how you don't know something about somebody, and then when you find out what you didn't know, like it all starts to make sense. It all starts to add up. Bruce Brown said, "It's crazy. I don't know what happened. Everybody likes each other." Bruce Brown had the best game of his Nets season. Why? Because they removed the cancerous player that guys didn't like. They removed the guy that made it all about himself, that was showing up to practice late, showing up to meetings late, not sitting with the team on the bench on road games, not being a leader. That's not who you want, yo. That's not who you want in your foxhole, right? That's not who you want in your corner. Guys like James Harden, they're only about themselves. So let's move on here and let's get to the voicemails. I think we have 5, which is a good number. Give me 1 second. We'll go voicemails, we'll go chat questions, and then we'll wrap up by the time we hit an hour. First one. Okay. This one came in Tuesday at like 2 o'clock.
Yo, Keith, this big fan briefing. Yo, I just seen you on book talking about how you looking like the Bucks gonna get DeAndre Bembry. Ain't nothing, man. Listen, I know what we did. We only waived them. Even though we could have waived another player, we waived them because we got Ben Simmons, and it kind of do the same thing. But Ben Simmons is a better DeAndre Bembry because he could run points. But I'm saying that to say, when it come down to defense, the last 25 games we kept.
No, what happened?
Defense.
There it is.
The last 25 games, we kept teams under 100 points. We won all 25 games. The chemistry to winning a championship, to contending for a championship, to get back on the winning column, winning streak, is the defense. And we got a good situation with Drummond. And you see, we won that game. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for your shoulders, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I mean? You're one of my favorite net podcasters, man. Hopefully I can get on shows again one day. Again, man, I'm watching. I'm probably be in the chat.
Yo, shout out to Big Fan Breezy. He was supposed to be on last episode, bro. We will get you on another episode. I'm working on doing a Fanalist fan episode during All-Star break and having like a rotation of like 8 different fans popping in to say their piece about the Nets and to join the pod. I'm working on that. I'm also working on putting a crew together. I need like 4 or 5 solid Nets fans with skills that I have, right? I do all of the Talking Nets stuff, from the podcast to editing the audio, editing the video, the YouTube, the Twitter, the Instagram. And this is not my job. I don't get paid to do this anymore. So I need to recruit like 3, 4 solid guys that can just like, one guy focus on Instagram, one guy focus on Twitter, one guy focus on the YouTube, another guy focus on the podcast, and then I'll oversee everything and teach on the way. It's coming. Some people have already reached out. We already got a little bit of a street team together, but the voicemail was about DeAndre Bembry, and that's a good point. I like Bembry, but when you look at the roster construction, I immediately thought they would cut Javon Carter, but without Kyrie being full-time, that gives you like a half player, and you need guards. You need a backup ball handler in case of emergency. He shot better in the last couple weeks, and he saved himself from being cut. But don't sleep. The buyout market is coming, and there's rumors that the Nets could be interested in getting Dragic and dropping Javon Carter. That'd be cool. All right, next voicemail.
All right, so I was watching the game against Sacramento last night.
Nope, that one's not going to rock. So that's a whole minute, right? And I said if you call a voicemail, keep it under a minute, but get to it. Get to it. If your first 5 seconds are, I was watching the game last night, you got to get to it. Going to the next one. Oh, this is my guy, Strike. Strike called in the WFAN. Strike Mike.
What up? Strike from Long Island, a.k.a. Mike from Long Island. Keith, I want you to speak about your thoughts on acquiring a 25-year-old former number 1 overall pick multiple-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, who had a couple hiccups in his original stop in his career. But what do you project as the next 3 years of Ben Simmons' career as he evolves in the Brooklyn?
Why does that keep happening?
And he is in an environment that may be more conducive for his growth and success, and a place that he may be more comfortable being, just as a young adult, continuing the next stage of his professional career, in addition to being, a high-caliber All-Star NBA player.
So let's have that conversation for real now that Ben Simmons is ours and Ben Simmons is Ben 10 here, not wearing 25. I'm going to look dead into the camera and tell you how I feel. I did not want Ben Simmons. No one wanted Ben Simmons. But I realized the other night when we were playing the Kings, we could have been playing against Ben Simmons. There was rumors that the trade was going to be with the Kings, right? Sixers fans feel like they won the trade because they got Ben Simmons out of there. Sixers fans feel like they won because instead of getting Buddy Hield and Mo Harkless, they got James Harden. For us, we feel like we won the trade because we got James Harden the fuck out of here. Bro was pulling the whole team down. And we didn't just get 1-2 players. We got 3 players and 2 picks. Now back to Ben. Ben Simmons, I really do believe, has the opportunity to have the best time in his basketball life playing in Brooklyn. The fans have already embraced him, brought him in. We can't wait to see his fiancee, Maya Jama, courtside, walking into the Barclays. We can't wait to see that man come down the lane and yam it on somebody. He's going to fit in with this team because he already has relationships with this team. I already mentioned Patty. I already mentioned the Aussie connection and rapport that he's had there. KD was at first skeptical on the trade. I didn't want him. KD didn't want him either. Nobody wanted him. But then as things started to materialize and we realized it was too far gone with James, I think we started to think about who Ben Simmons actually is, which people forgot. And Ben Simmons is going to be on a Let Me Remind You tour. And he said he hopes he's ready for March 10th. So that to me means he wants to play. Let's speak on Ben Simmons' mental health. Do not speak on anyone's mental health that you don't know. The end. I think Ben Simmons will be fine. I think Ben Simmons has a chance to be better than fine in Brooklyn, depending on how much he worked on his game over the last 7 months that he's been off. When you're off from doing something, he spoke about it in the press conference, right? He said, the hardest part was just not being able to do what I love. He loves playing basketball. He loves playing the game. He is a hooper. Not a shooter, but he's a hooper. He's a world-class defensive player. He is a guy that can assist and get guys open and make passes. That's what we need him to do. We have the scorers. We have the shooters. He can flourish here. Now, will there be some times where we're going to need him to shoot the ball? Yes. And that's where I hope he's worked on a 15 to 20-foot jumper and then also has worked on his free throws. He said he feels better about his free throws. He said he has worked on it. We're about to see. Please remember this. James Harden is 32. James Harden is about to make like $260 million staying with the Sixers, opting in and them running him the max, where they're going to end up paying his old ass like $50-60 million when he's washed, when he's 36, 37, and he's fat and he's slow and he can't do it anymore and his game doesn't mature, or not mature, his game doesn't age well, right? He's not going to be playing like LeBron at 37. We have Ben Simmons at 25, and Ben Simmons is under contract for a little bit. He's going to be fine here. And we're not going to ask him to be the top scorer. The pairing of him and Joel Embiid was always a little weird. It was never it. Trust the process. They're forever processing, and we finesse the process. Ben 10, Ben Simmons on the Brooklyn Nets has the opportunity to shock a lot of people, especially those people in Philly that are like, he's trash. He's never going to shoot. Oh, wait till Nets fans are waiting for him to shoot and he passes. I'm like, they're so stuck on that one game. Okay, wait for it. He's just going to pass the ball to KD. KD's going to pull that shit. He's going to pass the ball to Kyrie. Kyrie's going to dribble, get to the rack, boot, layup, kick it out. Who's waiting? His Aussie brother, Patty Mills. Who's on his other side? Seth Curry. Oh, is Joe Harris coming back? We don't know. We hope so. I can't wait for that news to break. LaMarcus Aldridge next to him. Behind the back, LA, mid-range. We got plenty of shooters, plenty of scorers. Ben will be A-OK right here. Last voicemail.
Yo, Keith, what's good, man? This is Brandon Bass, aka Big Smooth. I hit you up on the gram. But anyway, I really appreciate your content. Always good, always insightful. What I think about this trade is that, again, Marks we trust. He finessed the process, as you mentioned. I cannot wait to see what this team is going to do. We got a glimpse of it last night with Seth coming in and instantly making an impact on the team. Drummond making a presence in the paint that we also sorely needed, and just being able to add additional pieces to that is just going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. The excitement is coming back slowly. Let's get it. Brooklyn, baby. That's where our world.
Brooklyn. I mean, shout out to Big Smooth. Big Smooth, I gotta hit you back. I've been staying out of my DMs because my DMs been going crazy, bro. Like, not complaining about it, but like since being on the radio, that opens me up to like thousands of other people, and like my DMs have been flooded, and I've just kind of stayed out of them. Like I either just delete them all or like don't even look at them anymore. But I do remember rapping with you on the Talking Nets DM. I'll get back to there. But what was I about to say? Oh, the biggest thing for me is that we finessed the process, right? We had needs at the deadline. We didn't make any other deals at the deadline. Through the Sixers, we were able to fill our needs. We were struggling to rebound the ball. Give me Andre Drummond. Our shooting wasn't great without Joe Harris. Give me Seth Curry. Our defense can always be better. We'll take Ben. We traded away picks for James Harden. We traded away picks to get DeAndre Jordan up out of here. Give us 2 picks. We good. We good. We good. Now, what has to happen is it all has to play out, y'all. It all has to come together. The Nets know they're in some deep shit. They know that the road to the finals is a way different route now. The mountain is extremely high to climb right now, but that's okay. We've got the Knicks tonight, and then we've got the Wizards tomorrow, and then we're into the All-Star break. Win those 2 games, back to back. We have to win those 2 games, and we'll be in decent shape. We open up February 24th against the Celtics, and the Celtics have been rolling. I saw someone put in here that, like, Joe Harris should be back the 24th. That's a hope. Where is it? Richard said, wait, for real, though, where are y'all seeing this Joe Harris return? Nowhere. No one has seen it. We are hoping. We are fans. This guy has been out now for 3 months. We are hoping that he comes back after All-Star. We're hoping that they're all ready to go after All-Star. It was good to see LA come back, but we're hoping that, everyone is healthy. KD, Joe Harris, Claxton, and then hopefully by March, Kyrie is full-time, and then it's scary hours. It's scarier hours. It's the scariest of hours. We probably should retire that. I was talking to someone. I was like, James Harden is the one that brought scary hours here. We need another name. No more Big 3. No more scary hours. Something else. And we'll see it as these guys are on the court. We'll figure it out as they play. We'll know what the name is once it starts to develop. Another thing in my notes, man, we're going to do it again with these different starting lineups. The Nets have already had over 30 different starting lineups, and they set the record last year in the 72-game season. I think we had 36 or 37 last year. We're about to do that shit again. Different lineups. That's like the Yankees. The Yankees roll out a different lineup every day. Guys hitting fourth that shouldn't be hitting fourth. Random guys playing out of position. That's my Yankee Nets parallel for the Yankee fans listening. All right. Let's hit the chat. Let me scroll up to the chat. We got about 10, 15 minutes to hit the chat. The chat was going crazy. I see y'all. I'm trying to see if I see anything cool that I want to throw up from you guys' conversation. You guys are lit. Appreciate it. Let's see. Dragon Ball Z James Harden, yeah. Will James Harden win a chip in Philadelphia? Find out next time on NBA. No way. All right, here we go. I'm back at the top of the chat. While I'm scrolling up to the top of the chat, any questions, any thoughts you want to get off, anything you want me to talk about before we wrap, send it into the chat, and I'll do so. Let's see. My cousin's favorite team is the Celtics. I was praying for them to kick the 76ers out their own court, and they did. They damn sure did. Tatum, no, like, not for nothing, Ime Udoka, our former coach, he left our bench and went to the Celtics. He got them right. Tatum and them boys, they might be a problem, yo. They might be a problem. They struggled early in the year, but they're figuring it out. Can we just say that Embiid looks like he's out of gas? Yes, that's a great point. He's not out of gas, but this is Embiid. He gets hurt every year. And I think it's hilarious that James Harden quit because KD was hurt and he had to shoulder the load. What do you think is going to happen when Embiid goes down? And then Embiid goes down, you have less of a supporting cast. Let's see. Why did they trade Bembry? They didn't. They released him. They cut him because we ended up, we had a full roster. We ended up bringing 3 guys back in the trade. We had to let him go. It's tough, man. I wanted to get him back, and it sucks to see he's going to be with the Bucks now. But whatever. I want the Bucks. If we get into the playoffs, I want the Bucks. I want revenge. Nets versus Knicks tonight. We'll talk about it. Nets versus Knicks tonight. I think this is the Knicks' best opportunity to beat the Nets. They haven't beat us in like 3 years. It's their best opportunity to get a win tonight because Kyrie can't play. Dumb shit. KD is hurt. And it's only Seth and Drummond's second game with the team. The Knicks are at home where they do actually lose games a lot. But, after that disappointing loss they had against Oklahoma City with Josh Giddey, 19-year-old going off, they're probably looking to bounce back. Let's see. I'm not going to Barclays until I get to see Kyrie. I feel you on that. And that's what I'm saying with, like I said, I had this conversation with this dude. I'm like, yo, the NBA is better with Kyrie. He's got a ton of fans. You think the first game that Kyrie is allowed to play in Barclays, you think it's not going to be sold out? It will be. It will be. Do we have him tonight? No, we don't have Kyrie tonight. It don't make any damn sense. It's so stupid, right? Players from anywhere else in the country, even outside the country, Toronto, can come play unvaccinated in New York. Kyrie can't, though. If you're a real Nets fan, you go to the game no matter who's playing. That's incorrect. I am a real Nets fan. I am credentialed. And I don't go to the games sometimes. I knew not to go to that Celtics game. We got smoked. It was 28-2 in the first. I knew not to go to that game. I literally can do my radio job from Barclays Center, and I don't opt in to do it all the time. Some games you gotta just chill. You gotta not do that. Let's see. Update with Joe Harris. We don't know. They're keeping it under wraps, but him not getting traded makes me believe that he's gonna come back or at least try and give it a go. So we'll see. I think the mandate will be lifted in March. Right. That's a great point. And that's what people were talking about, this Biden address. Right? President Biden is supposed to address the country March 1st. And then what is he going to say? My fellow Americans, shit is over. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your spring and your summer. Do what you want to do. Yeah, we should have known. Hindsight is 2020. We should have known all this about Harden. What I'll say is KD wanted Harden, and then KD didn't want Harden. And last year when Harden was forcing his way out of Houston, it seemed like a quick move to make to ensure a championship. But you can't duck the grind. The universe wasn't ready for it. Why do we still have Johnson? Big body, veteran, and he could fight. That as soon as they signed him, I'm like, oh, it's because he's a black belt. He's supposed to be a enforcer in case anybody want to get tough. Yep, my holy king says we need James Johnson's toughness and just his veteran savvy. Let's see. I'm still scrolling through the chat. All right. Rich says, just wait. Those fan edits always had Harden in a Sixers jersey when he was 20 pounds lighter. He looks slim at practice. Yo, what up, Asia? Pinstripe Strong. We doing Pinstripe Strong on Sunday. And my account is monetized now. So we're monetized here on Talking Nets, and we're monetized. We've been monetized on Pinstripe Strong. All right, let's see. As we're wrapping things up, we just hit the 50-minute mark. Let's see. Nets -4 trap game. Are the Nets favored? I think they are. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a trap game. The Nets are coming off an 11-game losing streak. I wouldn't say it's a trap game. But I don't know. I might bet that. I might bet the Nets. I bet against the Nets like an idiot the other night. I'm like, only because I started, like, once we hit 8 games, I'm like, I'm about to just keep betting this losing streak. But I should have thought, like, we're back at home. James Harden is gone. These guys are going to win. This is the night to bet the Nets to break the streak. We going to get Dragic? I don't know. It's rumors. Something I read on Twitter. CBS Sports is saying that he's going to be back on their injury report. Okay. For Ben, I don't care if he can hit threes. If he can get a post-up game and improve his free throws, I'll be happy. Exactly. I'm not asking too much of the brother, man. I'm not asking too much of him this, second half of the season. We'll see what he's got. We'll see what he looks like. He doesn't ever have to shoot a three. Can you comment on Mayor Adams on his struggle with Kyrie's vaccination status? There shouldn't be a struggle. And earlier I played the video with Adam Silver talking about it, and I think that's to pressure the mayor into, make a move, bro. Do something. And I think he will after this State of the Union address or whatever's coming up. Keith, you think we have room for Joe Harris to come back? We already have enough guards. Yeah, but you don't have enough shooters. You could always have more shooters, more scorers. And let me remind y'all, Joe Harris, when he's right, he's one of the best sharpshooters in the league. They got to respect him. We need him. We need him. Even just the threat. We need another wing if they play Simmons at the 4 or 5. Is Grant still on the table? I don't think so. I don't think we're worried about Jeremy Grant at this point. Bruce Brown over 8.5 points tonight. I wouldn't chase that. I would not chase that. After Bruce had his 19-point game yesterday, I wouldn't chase that. Maybe, I don't know. Depends on what the odds are for that. It's probably not a big enough payout. If you're putting it in a same game parlay, maybe. But expecting Bruce Brown to go out and give you 9 points tonight, I'm not. All right, getting to the end. Fred said, here's the thing. I have mixed emotions with Kyrie and the mandate, but Nets fans will always back Kyrie over James Harden. Kyrie brought KD here. Let's keep it a buck. Yeah, I don't disagree. Keith, did you see the All-Star draft where KD picked Gobert over Harden? Of course. And then in turn, he ends up picking Jared Allen. Eric Adams said he's struggling over the mandate decision. There's nothing to struggle about, bro. It's crazy. I don't really want to even talk about that. We need a bad boy on the Nets. Yeah, that's James Johnson. His nickname is Bloodsport. Yeah, Cam Thomas should be in that rookie sophomore game. They don't show us love, though. I don't know if y'all Nets fans remember, we had no All-Stars until D'Lo. And then the years before that, we had Joe Harris in the three-point contest. We had Spencer Dinwiddie win the skills contest, but that was it. As Nets fans, all we had to root for was our guys to win in the challenges. Let's see. Yeah, it's funny. Asia said Houston's management was upset at Morey. And Jared says, what do you mean? Tillman Fertitta doesn't fuck with Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey went to Philly last year, and the whole world knew that Harden wanted to follow him, but we finessed Houston into trading him to Brooklyn, and then he weaseled his way into Philly so he could go hug his best friend, Daryl Morey, anyway. Right. If Giannis can change his game and improve his free throws, why can't Ben? We talked about that on air last night. In the finals, Giannis was straight. In the finals, Giannis was hitting his free throws. He struggled through the playoffs, but he did get better through the playoffs. We were out there counting down 10, 9, and he did what he had to do. You think we can beat the Knicks today? Every day of my life. Jason Kidd couldn't shoot, and he's gotten better. Yeah, yo, think about Rondo. Rondo couldn't shoot, and now Rondo's old ass is hitting threes for the Cavaliers. It takes time. And once you learned about Ben's mental health issues, it made more sense. Hot take. Nets Twitter is overreacting to losing Bembry. He played really well in the beginning of the season, but tailed off. There wasn't a spot left after the moves. Bet. And what I'll say is, Ben Simmons will make you forget about DeAndre Bembry pretty quickly when you see this new team. These are new Nets. All right, y'all, I got to roll. I would have lost JJ or Carter, no Bembry. Yeah. But see, we're Nets fans, right? This is what we do. We fall in love with these players. I used to think Yogi Ferrell was going to be the future. I really believed in Sean Kilpatrick. remember when Bogdanovich had 40? I was like, oh, he's here. He's him. That's what we do as Nets fans. Like, we fall in love with players. Do you think Curry will sign his extension after we win? Yeah. All right, y'all. My allergies are flaring up. My nose is running. And I got to be at the station in like an hour and a half. I'm on air tonight before the Nets game, during the Nets game, and after. So call WFAN up if you want to talk Nets. Definitely do that if we beat the Knicks, because you know those Knicks fans are going to be tight about it. Subscribe to the pod, y'all. Subscribe to the pod, y'all. Subscribe to the pod, y'all. Subscribe to the pod. I want to make Talking Nets more of a video show than like a podcast, but it helps us to have reviews. So we have 109 ratings, a 4.7 stars. Oh, we got some new reviews. I got to read them, Johns. Let's see. Write a review on Apple if you have Apple, like if you listen to podcasts on Apple, and I'll read the reviews because we have new ones. So 2 new ones, one from last month, one from this month. Excuse me. My allergies are flaring up. Okay. Brittany Pop. My favorite Nets podcast. It's really nice to chat and listen to other Nets fans, and I'm glad Keith made a safe space for us to do so. Keep up the good work. Brooklyn, 5 stars. Okay, let's see. We got a hater in the building. I appreciate the hate, though. I get hate all day. That's what happens when you make it. Cocky. Keith has a good view of the Nets, but can't escape a podcast without him mentioning his grid to make his grind. They didn't even spell it. His grind to make it where he is, where he stands with people, recognizing him at Barclays, calling out former co-hosts, or recognizing how big he is. So be ready for his subliminal cockiness about how great he is. Had to unsubscribe. Preaches about being humble while not being humble at all. That's from the main man, Joe. Do I know any haters named Joe? I don't know. I don't want to know any haters named Joe. Joe, you sound like a lame, but I'll take the review. Imagine making it from where I came from. You can't. You can't imagine it. And I'll say it forever. I grind every single day. And what you see is the product of the grind. No one gave me shit. I wasn't supposed to make it. So thank you, Joe. Thank you for recognizing that. All right. Appreciate y'all in the chat. I do this for everybody that pulls up to rock and talk about the Nets. Are you going to be giving out mods soon? Yeah, why not? Asia, if you want to be a mod, I got you. I need mods. Let's see. Last question. Why does everyone think Giannis is better than KD? It's not even close. We went through that last year with Jay Will, but yeah, appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Do this for the Nets fans, Talking Nets fam. And yeah, I'll be cocky about it because I put in the work. I'm a grown man and I'm standing on all the work that I put in year after year after year. I've been broke. I've been down. I've been unemployed. I've been out. And people weren't checking for me. So when you actually get to where you've been trying to go, stand on it. And don't ever let a hater tell you anything. Don't take any advice from somebody that never did what you're doing or trying to do. And that's how we'll end this pod. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube as well. Leave a review. Call the voicemail 201-870-0461. And we'll see you after the next couple games. All-Star episode will probably be next. We'll get a group of Nets fans together. And I'll share the love. I'll share the spotlight. Trust me, I don't want to be doing this all on my own. It's a lot of work. But here we are. Talking Nets, episode 151. That's all I've got. Appreciate y'all. Let's go Nets. Let's go Nets. Let's go Nets. Let's go Nets. Brooklyn.